Today's guest says your customers are already running an internal test on everything you publish. They can spot AI content in about 2 seconds.
And here's the twist. He's not anti-AI. He runs a PR agency. He's won a Clio Awards, and he uses AI every single day.
Yeah, his whole argument is that the best marketers aren't people using AI the most. They're the ones protecting the personality of their brand while AI helps behind the scenes.
Yep. And he's got a filter for sorting your tasks. Do it, delegate it, or delete it. I ran my whole week through it.
Your whole week? How did that go?
Well, I deleted a lot, Chris.
That's great. There's also a story in this interview about aqua socks and a shower that might be the best 60 seconds we've ever aired, other than this intro, obviously. But you'll know it when you hear it.
Yes. And Jesse sat down with PR strategist Steve Seidel, and this is The Shift.
I love those intros so much.
Always adds a little fun into our day, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Erica, Dave, welcome. It's great to see you here. Before we jump in, I wanted to share like a little personal interaction I had with an AI content checker called Pangram. If you don't know what Pangram is, it is a tool that is supposed to tell you whether or not something or a piece of written content or an image was created with AI. They have their own models and algorithms for trying to identify AI content. And generally speaking, they're pretty good, but you should be really skeptical of treating them as gospel. This loosely relates to the content or sections of the content of the interview from today. I just want to show you this. This was a post that I wrote. I wrote this post by hand for LinkedIn. And apparently it was so bad and so inhuman that Pangram told me it was 100% generated with AI. But so I posted that on LinkedIn. I was like, be skeptical about using AI checkers and just trusting them, because I wrote this post by hand and it told me it was 100% AI generated. And then somebody in my comments was like, well, I just ran the same thing and it said it was 100% human. And they sent me a share link for that. And it does say 100% human. It does say 100% human. It is the same exact thing. There was actually one character difference. I had an S here, so it was structures. They have no S there. I don't think I can edit this, but I'm skeptical that that is the one thing that would have been the difference between it being human written and 100% AI written. My point isn't that these tools aren't useful at all. It's that just like with other AI tools, you have to take them with a grain of salt. But with that being said, our interview today, or our guest today, has spent 20 years getting brands noticed. He's the founder of the Seidel Agency. They're a Clio Award winner, and he is also a TEDx speaker. He calls what he does connection engineering, which I think is pretty fun. It's helping businesses basically get known, liked, and trusted. And his AI take is kind of surprising. He uses it every day, but he says that the winners aren't people who try to use it for everything. And I'll explain to you why. So anything, Alicia, before we welcome Steve to the shift?
No, I'm really excited to share this with y'all because it's great information.
Yeah. And this is a rare time where you get all three of us. Me and Alicia are here live. Yes. And Jesse is coming from the great beyond, which is what I call his vacation, to interview Steve.
Steve, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Shift AI show. I'm really glad we have you here today.
Thank you so much, Jesse. It's an honor to be with you and on the show. I've been a big fan of AWeber since the get-go, and having gone to school with Sean and meeting you, talking Philly sports. For me, it feels like home, and that's what it should be, especially when you get into AI and all that stuff. You want a place that feels like home, but for you guys, it's really cool what you guys have been doing, and thanks for having me on.
I appreciate them, and that's the hope. I mean, it's all, especially with an audience of small business owners and often solopreneurs who don't necessarily have large teams to support and work through like the noise with. We want to try to take that kind of the crazy, fast-paced noise of AI and make it accessible. And that's why I'm really glad that we have you here, because I know that you have a lot of really, I think, important thoughts around this and perspective. So like you talk a little bit about, you've talked a little bit about in the past about connection engineering.
Sure.
But like, what does that mean on a Tuesday morning? Like, walk me through what that means for a small business owner, or what you're talking about when you talk about connection engineering.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that. I went to Penn State. I was an industrial engineer, and so right now I run a PR and brand agency. We won Clio Awards. Been doing it for about 20 years. And at the end of the day, we all want something that you can't get from a tool, and we want to have trust. We want to trust our loved ones. We want to trust ourselves. We want to trust anybody who we work with nowadays. And when AI starts to come to the forefront, and there's deep fakes and there's articles that are running themselves, we begin to lack that trust. And so when I come to work with a company or an organization, at the end of the day, first, we need to know you exist. Then we want to like you, and then we want to trust you. And so that's where connection engineering comes in. And when I talk about being home, we want to connect. Ideally, we connect with ourselves. I have this thing, it's a 4M framework, but it starts with your mission. Are you connecting to your mission? Are you connecting to your calling? And are you working at a company that you truly love? Is there that cultural alignment? Right. And then, you want to connect more to your message and make sure your message connects with your audiences, and then your media and your movement. But for today, in terms of connection engineering, I think I want to distill to 3 things. Are you connecting to your calling? Like, what is it that you're doing? What are the skills that you have? Maybe you're good at one thing. Are you connecting to your community? Because that's vital to have that sense of community, to not only support you, but the community with the business that you're running with. That's what's going to be your special sauce. That's how you're really going to rise above using the AI. And then lastly, you really want to connect with those consumers. And so when you have those connections in place, my goal, anytime I work with clients or small businesses, is like, you hear a lot about a win-win, but I want to go one step further, the power of 3, and go win-win-win. Are we winning in our job with our company and an organization? Do we have values and beliefs that we can connect to? And we wake up, we're like, heck yeah, I don't have to go to work. I get to go to work. And are we winning in our community? So that, do we have a charitable partner? Do we have something that we're doing locally so people know that we are human, that we are a thriving business, and that we want to be a part of this community? And then with the consumers, are we connecting with them so that we're giving them something of value that they can tangibly take home and say, yo, I can trust this company, and I want to invest with my dollar, with my time, and my clicks.
Yeah, and not just love the product or service, but actually, build brand affinity where they care about you and your business, not just what they receive from it, right? I mean, that's the goal for everyone. I love that you talk about that too, because I think, especially when we're talking about a lot of small business owners, most of them got into what they're doing because they were passionate about it. And so, I hopefully they connect on that level. But that's worth reassessing every once in a while, especially as a business owner. You start wearing 20 hats. And maybe sometimes you kind of like, that changes or that shifts, or you're not.
And that's where AI can come into play. You can reassess some of those things. Mm-hmm. And I like to call it your amplification intern. So you can amplify some of the things that are taking a lot of time off of your plate, or just knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at. That's the biggest thing that I see with small business owners, is they're passionate about something. They create a business, and then, okay, now I have to do marketing. I have to worry about checks. I have to do payroll. So knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at is really important. And there's a really cool trick that I say. It's, you either do it, you delegate it, or you delete it. So if you're in that rut, you can give yourself a little bit of a breakdown on what you do every single day. Time management is crucial, right? We have to water those seeds so that they can grow. But that's where, when we work with companies and organizations, we just take a quick little litmus test: do, delegate, delete, and you can offshore it to, somebody locally. You can do a virtual assistant. You can use AI.
Yeah, and I think that's where in the last couple of years AI comes in, where that, in terms of delegating, you have all new options. Not always the right ones, but in many cases. And we talk about that with our audience a lot of times. It's, what the big question is usually like, where do I start? And it's like, what's one thing that you have to do this week that you'd rather not? Like, take a look and see if that's something that you can delegate to AI.
Yeah.
But okay, so on that note, you've also said that winners aren't the people using AI the most. If I'm scrolling the LinkedIn feed and reading like the mostly junk content that's put out there, that seems to
Yeah.
be like the opposite of everything I'm seeing right now. So why aren't the winners using it the most?
So that's a great question, and thank you for asking that. And you look at the content that's out there, and you're starting to get your own litmus test of, hey, is this person using ChatGPT? You're looking for M dashes. You're looking for things that aren't personal.
Yeah.
They're consistently creating content, and that's where I see certain people. Even Sean, I love his content. He's starting to raise awareness, which is crucial. If you have a business, a little sidebar, there should be a face to the brand, because we want to know that this is not some silo effect, or it's, this business that's operating. We want to see a face to the brand. And with this, it doesn't need to see your face every 2 seconds, but there needs to be that human element behind your brand. And that's when I talked a little bit about your mission and mapping that out. Who already knows you? Pull that list, past clients, referral sources, but then sharing that human element. And this is one thing where you can use AI. One thing that I would suggest is there's tools, there's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, but really dig deep and learn about yourself. What are the things that you truly love about yourself? What are the things that you truly love about your clients? What are some of those stories? There's a really interesting story. I work with Living Care Home Services. They're based out of Doylestown. And there's a caretaker for somebody who had dementia, and the gentleman wouldn't take a shower, and the caregiver, the nurse didn't know what to do. And so eventually they were going back and forth with the wife because he has dementia and forgot about certain things. And she was like, well, that's really funny that he won't take a shower, because we used to go down to the lake all the time, and he would put on those aqua socks and he would go and, go swing. And then ding, a light bulb went off in their head. It was like aqua socks. So they put the aqua socks right next to the shower, and he went in and took the shower himself. And so when you hear that story, it touches your heart.
Yeah.
And you can share that from emotional component. And so, not to say that AI isn't getting there, but it's really comes to the emotions. It comes to these core stories that you and your brand have within you, such as your core values, and finding ways that you can communicate them. And so there's a really cool tool. I'm going to talk to the audiences at the end if they want to have a bunch of free PR tools, but there's a really cool tool that allows you to be seen. And you're probably an owner of your company, right? You're either an owner or an operator, but we want to own things, which is why what you're doing is great. You own this podcast by working with AWeber. You own your email list, and then you can earn more viewers by going on podcasts or by doing social media shares, which is what we're talking about. You're sharing a lot more about your message so that it's clear, it's distinct, but finding that human element that's really going to resonate with them, or that simple story like I just shared, is crucial, and finding ways that it can come to the surface. I call a connection as currency, the currency of connection. And if you can connect to them, to their heart, that's how really you can drive value in your consumers or your audiences and people you're working with. If you are going to leverage it for your company or your brand, you really want to break down that branding and talk towards some of these key elements. So I talked a little about do, delegate, delete. I have a bunch of signature pieces that I put together. I literally have an 80-page document that I put together that has a lot of my story, a lot of what I've done. I wrote a poem when my mom passed away called The Fries at the Bottom of the Bag, about, these lasting moments, that the good times that we have in our life are here right now. Too often we go to the future, we go to the past, but when we can stay in the present, which is a gift, that's really where we're at. And so I talk a lot about that in some of my keynotes and with Connection, but that's kind of my thing, is like fries at the bottom of the bag, and how, the best things are at the bottom of the bag. Too often, you have the shiny thing, but you got to put in the work. And then in the end, that's where, when you put your blood, sweat, and tears, that's where the quality product comes in, or the service. And so for you or your company or your organization, take those time, have meetings, figure out what makes you guys tick. And those stories are the connective tissue. I come from a storytelling background. So the more that we can tell stories, and you'll see on some of these emails, like Sean Bossler, he's like a really great copywriter, and some of these other copywriters, they're all about telling you these stories. Look at Alex Hormozy. He tells you a story so that you get reeled in. They tease you with any social media or whatever you're doing. You get teased in, they tell you we're going to tell you, then they grip you with that story, and then they, close it out. And so finding those key stories is really going to be fundamental to your overall success. And then, yes, maybe you could use AI to elevate that, or find other tools. And while using AI, there's a couple ways you can use it. You can prompt it. You should never use the first prompt, right? It should be about 10, 3, 4, 5 prompts later.
Yeah.
And then once you get what you want, I would never put that out in the public. Then you want to flip it and ask them as the expert. Hey, if you were running a real estate business and you were talking to your owners and they typically bought $1 million homes, would this be something that you feel would resonate with them? Then you could flip that around and work that. And just be mindful, like we said earlier, you don't want to throw out a bunch of AI content, because then your brand is pretty much shot. And coming from Philly, you're only as good as your word.
Yep. That's true. As you know, let's flip the script on that a little less about like what you can do or should do with it. From your own experience, what's one thing that you maybe started down the path of using AI for in your business, personal life, whatever, and then killed off because it wasn't producing what you needed, or you realized it wasn't like in line with the way that you should be using it or wanted to be using it?
That's a great question, man. So I've used it in a multitude
Put you on the spot
of ways.
there.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. So I think for me in the past, when it first came out, I was using it just to put in information. And I thought, oh, I run a media agency. I could do social media. I could do content, press releases, all these things, and putting things in there that I felt were presentable. And this was when I started out with ChatGPT. I was looking through a lot of LinkedIn posts because I felt, for me, especially a lot of people that are here, if you're B2B, that's where you need to be on. And so I was putting a lot of captions and text in there, and I just didn't have a lot of time. And so I did put some things out there. Like Alex Ramosi says all the time, is like, it's a discovery problem. So even if it doesn't work, just put it up. But then I felt as if it wasn't authentic to me. And that's what when I talked about this 89-page document, I said, whoa, this isn't me. This doesn't sound like me, doesn't feel real. And people aren't going to trust that it's coming from me because that's not how I talk. And so like Evan said, I had to make a hard decision. Do I want to leverage it or do I not want to leverage it? I still do use it for certain things, but it's usually for working on, my own personal development or programmatic, connecting to Slack, or sometimes I even connect Claude to my email and say, hey, go through all my emails of the past 2 years. Are there any open loops? Are there any clients that maybe I could potentially reach back out towards and just re-engage them with the expectation that it's not AI that's talking to them. It's just a simple re-engage, just to start up the conversation. Then it's up to me to really build that relationship and to go full circle with connection engineering. It's about the relationships. And that's one thing that I pride myself in is I come from a place where I want to give. Our agency slogan is do good, give back, make an impact. But the more that you give, I think the more you receive. So trying to find ways where you can be generous, to acknowledge people for their time and give them something, even if it is business. Give, just like when you're doing an email, value, offer.
Right.
So seeing how you can give them something of value. And I think that connection engineering piece, there's a really cool tool called Granola that I use now, which you can connect it to all of your meeting conversations. So instead of watching this AI meeting notes pop up and everybody freaks out, it can connect to your phone and it can record your meetings. It can give you a recap. It can identify next steps. And it can allow you to sort of figure out what will be next in the process to nurture the relationship. So there's just different tools out there that you can leverage. But at the end of the day, for me, it's relationship based.
I love it. Okay, on the tool front, just first thing that comes to mind, most overhyped tool that's getting attention right now, and maybe it was Granola, but maybe most overlooked valuable tool right now.
In terms of most underutilized, I love Opus Pro. We use that tremendously. So I don't know if you're aware of that, but you can literally put a video in there. It'll scrub your video. And there's tons of tools like this, but I just sort of gravitated to this and we've been using it. If you have a video from a podcast or from anything, for lack of a better, you put it in there, it'll scrub your video. It'll find the viral moment. It can create 10 clicks right like that, right off the bat. It'll put the captions on the bottom and then you can distribute them. And so in today's age, when we're talking about making sure that you resonate for a lot of these AI tools, going on the podcast, like I've talked about, or hosting your own, these are ways that you can position yourself as the expert or the authority, which is crucial because there's just so many options nowadays. So if you go on a podcast or you have your own, you drop it in Notebooks Pro, it'll give you 10 clips, and then you can schedule them on your social media platforms. And there's another really cool platform called Rella that we used for a while. It's kind of like if Hootsuite and Claude had a baby. You can put all your content in there and it'll give you suggestions. It already has API, which a lot of these companies already do, but it'll give you suggestions. It'll tell you other content to recreate. It'll allow you to repost videos that do well. But it's just a really cool platform for somebody who's looking for a social media platform that has that AI piece embedded in it.
I love it. And it occurs to me as we're talking about this, we've done a couple of episodes now on like how to show up in AI search. It's such a, I think for small business owners, any business owner, it's one of the top concerns, right? As we've spent decades focused on ranking for the traditional SEO, ever evolving algorithm. And suddenly we have to like figure out how to show up in AI search results because we're told nobody's clicking anymore. You live at that perfect intersection. We talk a lot about like, control the things that you own, your website, make sure that it's optimized for LLMs, your owned content and things like that. But you also work in the media relations space and like earning third-party mentions and third-party credibility. So I want to maybe just like give me 1 minute on that, but I would honestly, more than anything, I'd love to have you back on to really just talk about that the entire time. That's kind of right at the sweet spot of what you do, and what you do is really beneficial to businesses trying to show up in AI search now.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think at the end of the day, we need to know that you exist. So to take a full circle, when you're truly connected to your cause, it'll show. You're not just doing your business to make money, but we need to experience you. We need to see you. We're seeing a lot more events in real life. And so having a connection with your audience to allow them to elevate it, but we want you to rise to the top. We want to take you from the pages to the stages. So having that third-party validation from public relations, press releases, or other individuals that validate that you are legitimate and that you're the go-to guy. And so we do that by, partnering with influencers, especially now in the content creator economy. The influencers are huge. And if somebody sees you on an influencer page, then they're going to believe that you're legit. In addition to that, we want to put you in Forbes. We want to make sure that there's press releases. And then we just want to see you putting out your own thing so that we know that we can trust in you and see your face. There's now tools that identify deep fakes or even content that's written from an AI perspective. So really, truly taking a moment to dig deep into why it is that we should work with you. The riches are in the niches. Speak directly to your audience. I help X do Y so that Z. And then you need to get out there and consistently share that message so everyone can hear that. And then with the AI algorithm, whether you're doing a podcast, a blog, an email, a social media post, a speaking event, it'll be the consistent message that we talked about. We need to get really consistent. And then there's also hacks. We work with a lot of founders who get right on TEDx stages. I've done a TEDx talk, so you can get right on the TEDx stage, or there's other tools that we could potentially put you in front of to really help make sure that everybody knows exactly what you do.
I love it. I would love to unpack that more. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time and your expertise and your willingness to share it with our audience. Before we leave, tell people how they can connect with you, how they can contact you, maybe what to say so it doesn't sound like an automated message when they reach out to you.
Yeah, I was going to tell any of your audiences or listeners, if anybody would like a 15-minute tutorial on how to set your business up, one of the keys for these platforms is really digging in and getting that source file so they know exactly who you are and what you do. Then secondly, identifying some of the tools that will help you in a heartbeat. I have if you go to theseidelagency.com, so that's THE, Seidel is SEIDEL, agency.com/media. I have a free PDF. It's going to be 4 sites where you'll get emails to your inbox where people are looking for experts. These are journalists that are writing reports and they need experts that are most likely in your field where you can start to raise your visibility, and then you will enter into the AI chat bots, but then you will have consistent content so that people get to know, like, and trust you. So it's theseidelagency.com/media. And if you find me on social media, I'm Steven Seidel everywhere. That's STEPHEN SEIDEL.
Awesome.
Sorry, I was muted.
No worries. I was watching the timer and then I missed it. That was awesome. I was actually just getting ready to post in that link that he just shared, the SeidelAgency.media. So that should pop into the chat.
Yeah, I just signed up for it. That's why I was distracted right there. I should have been paying better
I need
attention.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great nuggets in there. I've heard a lot about granola for note taking. Not something I've tried myself, but maybe that's something we could dig into one week. As far as like understanding that, how that works and how that could be beneficial. And reflecting on some of the insights he had earlier about just writing your content, sharing emotions with your story. I think that's key because AI can sound so robotic. So I think that in addition to sharing personal stories, like adding that emotion into that could, make your content feel way more connected with your audience.
Yeah, somebody asked a really good question. How are you all finding yourselves writing differently to differentiate yourself from slop? Some like really smart audience member asked
Great
that.
question.
And only Erica answered. Thank you, Erica, for chiming in on there. The rest of you,
Next time.
are you doing anything like? Are you finding your writing evolving based on like this thought at the back of your mind that I don't want to be lumped in with slop?
Yeah, I do find that it actually holds me back from wanting to post a little bit because even when I do write it myself, like you said, it was that example earlier. It's like I wrote this myself, but it's like I've been using AI to write so much that I feel like maybe I have picked up on some of the habits that AI uses when writing. So it's like that merge, and it's like, how do I pull myself back out of that? So I love having that like a new fresh take on like, let's like put more emotion into like what I'm writing, or maybe that'll help like work that out. Cause I have so many ways that I teach my tools to talk and have it sound like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, over time, it's like how we talk changes and evolves, and you got to keep those things fresh.
Yeah. The one actually useful hack that I've found for making more human sounding content is to talk what I'm going to say, is to speak what I'm going to say, and have it like, instead of sitting and writing when I'm writing a social media post or something that I want to feel really human, it's like I turn on dictation and I talk, and then maybe I'll go in and clean it up, but maybe I'll just leave it the way it is, because that is me like stumbling through whatever I was trying to say. And it might not feel as polished, but I will generally say the weirder, or sometimes like kind of, well, weird's a good way to say it, things that AI wouldn't say, because it's like, oh, that would be a really dumb thing to say. This is AI talking. That's a really dumb thing to say. I won't say it. But sometimes I'm like, I don't realize it was a dumb thing to say till after the fact.
Hey, I'm the queen of awkward moments and saying silly things, so I can relate.
And it's like, as long as it's not offensive, as long as it's not hurtful, as long as it's not untrue, like those little quirks are what make talking to people fun and interesting.
Yeah, dictation is a good idea. I've done that a few times when working on like scripts or videos and things like that. Like, I just want to say this, and I just like blurt it all out, and then eventually, it'll help me organize my thoughts a little bit better. But you're right. When I'm speaking, I say a lot more than when I'm half typing the thoughts. You know, like I might do half sentences, and it's probably getting rid of all of those emotions and quirks in the way I speak. So, I love that, to try more.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a fun one. So Jesse will be back next week. We'll be back with some more demos. Maybe we'll go through some of the cool stuff that you can do in Pangram and other testers. I still want to keep pushing some of the video stuff. Like I was telling Alicia before he came on, every 2 weeks at AWeber, we do this thing called Demo Day, where the team gets together and everybody shares videos of the stuff they're most stoked about demoing. Mine, spoiler alert, Dave and Erica, you might want to know about this because it's coming very soon. I've been working on adding e-commerce support to the AWeber landing page builder, the universal landing page builder, the AI one. And today I'm demoing that internally because it's awesome. You can just ask it what Stripe products you have. You could ask it like what subscription products you have, and then you can ask it to build a page around one of your Stripe products, which is just mind-blowing.
So cool.
But for demo day, normally what I would do is I'd do a screen recording and then I'd go in and edit out all the ums and ahs and all sorts of stuff. But instead, I just gave that one long recording with all my mistakes in it to Claude, to Fable in Claude Code. And I was like, edit this into a video for demo day, remove any gaps, pick the best takes if I've said the same thing multiple times. And it did a fantastic job. This is going to be the way that I edit and create those demo videos going forward. I'm just going to record them as one long take. I'm going to task Fable with turning it into something for demo day. Voila. Okay, quick question. What are some of the reliable AI checking apps out there? So Pangram is actually a pretty good AI checker. The issue is really that the no AI content checker is going to be, here, I'll put that up on the screen because that was a really great question, Ruth. None of them are going to be foolproof. So what I would suggest for you is if you're going to rely on them, or if you're going to use them to try and identify like which of your own content might read as AI, like go into Pangram and run the same piece of content multiple times and see, like, do you tend to get noted as one thing over the other thing? Do you, is it like an even 50-50 split? Because like these, the checkers themselves, they're not foolproof. And like, as I showed at the beginning of the episode, like I wrote that as a human and it comes up half of the time basically as 100% AI. That probably says something about my writing style, but but it clearly got things wrong because it wasn't written by AI, even if it was poorly written. So it's just an interesting thing. Like can you vamp for a sec, fill some space for a sec? I need to go find a social post because I had found a really interesting story about these AI checkers. Give me just one second.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I did just pop that Pangram link into the chat. So if you want to check it out, go ahead. And I'm laughing a little bit because I was saying that some of my writing habits seem like I pick up on AI a little bit. And it sounds like you have too, Chris, since you're writing things from scratch and getting checked as 100% AI. But the more and more it's out in the wild, I feel like it's going to be harder to detect. There's obviously the obvious symbols like the M dash, and I noticed like short sentences, like very short statements and things like that makes content feel choppy. But I think that is the content that is missing the emotion, the story behind it, and a lot of that feeling. So I'm interested to see some more AI checkers and try out some of my writing in that as well.
Yes, come on, Chris, find this. Oh yeah, okay. So this woman, Kat Tenbarge or Tenbarge, she's like a vocal AI opponent. She's really skeptical of it, and she was accused of using AI to write a Rolling Stone article because she used M dashes. He also put the article into an AI checker, but he was wrong. And Kat, this journalist, had the Google Docs version history to prove that she wrote it. You know, you could see her writing it bit by bit. So like that's another example of where these checkers they're fallible. You know, mm-hmm. Like even folks who are very opposed to AI writing long form pieces with in-depth version history proving that they wrote it, they sometimes get caught up in this. So that's not to say don't use them, but be really careful about treating them as gospel. You might want to use them, like let's say you're a teacher and you get a hit that something that a student wrote is flagged as AI. I would say your next step should not be to fail them for that. It should be to ask for their version history and to encourage them or to maybe require that they use Google Docs so you can see the version history to make sure that content is being written by humans if you expect it to be written by humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the content part of it's harder too, because like image generation too, I know that's everybody's joking about how AI slop images are all over social media and things like that. It's a little more obvious, but with writing, it can be harder. And you're right. Like, just because I use an M dash, I'm now AI writing. I actually feel the backlash all the time because my brand is purple. And then, I get comments like, everything that's purple is AI.
AI purple.
I'm like, yeah. I like purple. So now I'm like, man, I can't use purple anymore.
Yeah.
It's like banning similar, natural things that some people have used, but
yeah,
this time will pass.
I think what you have to do, like Erica said too, that she's mad because people think M dashes means AI. I love M, great pun. And I think like what you have to do is just keep doing the thing, but do other things that make it obvious that you're a human. Like spell every other word wrong, or no, not something like that. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, develop a unique tone of voice, or like make your page look so out of the norm that like so different from the common Claude page of big headline, call to action button, something in the right column of the hero, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of that comes back to is just like never go with the first version, right? When you get something back and you're using AI, like add your personal touch to it, add the iterations, make it personal to you.
Yeah. Like Ruth says, she has a friend who's putting herself forward as an AI automation expert, but the posts probably sound like AI, I would guess, from what you're suggesting there, Ruth. Like, I think people are gonna start just craving stuff that does not sound, I mean, people already want this, things that don't sound like everyone else. And it's like a good encouragement for us to be less afraid of being ourselves. Like, I'm not I have this like, what's it called? Imposter syndrome of like, I'm not a polished enough person at 43 in technology. Like, I should be much more put together and suit and ties type stuff. But like, this is the moment we're in, the AI moment we're in is really pushing me to be like, well, that's not why my friends like me. It's not why the people that I collaborate with on creative things like me. They don't like me because they want me to be that person. They like me because I am this person. And like, I know the things I know because I am this person. And that's just kind of making me feel a little bit freer about just dictating a post and then not worrying about making sure it's perfect.
Right. Yeah, because that perfection is what starts to make people question, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you, Steve, for giving us a lot to think about and chew on. And we will see everybody here next Tuesday at noon. I don't know what we're going to be demoing yet, but I can guarantee you it'll be fun and interesting. And if you can't make that one, we're here next Friday at noon as well, noon Eastern. And the things that you can do to help us out is you can smash that like and subscribe button and bring a friend, please. We've really enjoyed the community of people around the shift, and the bigger and more full of energy it gets, the better for all of us.
Of course. Yeah. And share topics you want to learn more about so we can help you unblock different ideas, explore, fail along with you. We're all learning these tools too. So let us know what you're struggling with.
Yeah, that actually reminded me. I've been wanting to hook up a soundboard so I can do, like, when you said that, I wanted to hit the like the ding 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 or the bwah, bwah, bwah. So get ready for that, everybody. One day you're gonna hear this onslaught of annoying sounds. All right, well, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday. See you, folks.
Bye, everyone.